If you're new to 2XKO or fighting games in general, you might have had the following experience. You do the tutorial to learn how to play, jump into a match, and your opponent starts attacking you. Not able to remember everything on the spot, you end up randomly pressing buttons, hoping for a hit to land. Whether you end up winning or losing, you're not sure why. Then you realize there are people who seem to really know what they're doing, and the voice in your head starts telling you that you are bad at fighting games and don't belong here. It may be counterintuitive, but knowing you're bad at fighting games actually makes you fit right in with everyone else in the fighting game community. In FGC language, someone who is defeated easily is called free, and it comes from the arcade days where if you could beat your opponent, you could keep playing for free while the loser had to pay more coins to try again. Of course, no one wants to be easy to beat, but everyone, including the best players, experience what it's like to be free, and this shared experience has become a ritual. At the end of each EVO, they play a clip of a classic Hong Kong film where the hero releases the prisoners and says, yeah, it's a funny meme at this point, but the deeper meaning behind it is that knowing you're free means you have the humility to learn and get better. The very act of watching this video right now means you have this mindset, and I'm going to show you the one thing you need to know that will unlock an entire genre's worth of strategy. It's going to sound crazy, but that one thing is blocking. Blocking is as fundamental to defense in fighting games as walls are to first-person shooters. The problem is that blocking is not intuitive in the way hiding behind a box is in Valorant. We've all played hiding games as a child, but not every child has learned how to block overheads. But blocking is not exciting. An Australian fighting game player who was being coached half-jokingly said, "I didn't pay $60 to block." There's a lot of good news, however. 2XKO is free to play and thus free to block, and the concept of blocking only takes 3 minutes to learn. The best part about learning how to block is that it will open up an entire new genre of gaming for you, and earning your wins with these strategies in a fighting game is one of the most rewarding gaming experiences you can have. The best part is, you already know about movement and attacking from other games, so blocking is just one more thing. After watching this video, you'll start to see the strategy in 2XKO matches and hopefully apply them yourself. Ready? Let's go. Blocking in a fighting game allows you to take a hit without suffering any damage, or minimal damage depending on the blocked attack. The blocking system in 2XKO has been in fighting games since the 80s and hasn't really changed much, and the game even still uses the 8-directional control scheme. The command is, hold back to block. This phrase has become a sort of secret handshake or even a shibboleth in fighting game circles because it is unique to fighting games and it indicates knowledge of how to play without random button mashing. But note that in 2XKO, it will instruct you to hold away instead of back. It's the same concept, just different terminology. If you ever need a glossary for fighting games, the one by Infill is the gold standard. So on the 8-way controller, hold away to block while standing. This is called high block, and yeah, your champion will walk backwards, don't be alarmed. Hold down away to block crouching. This is called low block, and in the air, you can hold any away direction to air block. Now, note that the direction to hold away flips when your opponent is on the other side. This matters because side switching happens suddenly and often, and on purpose by attackers to make it harder to block. So why are there 3 types of blocking? Because it allows there to be different types of attacks, each one beating certain types of blocking, but not others. Every champion has 3 different attack types, which are high, mid, and low. To identify them, high attacks are usually attacks from the air, mid and low attacks are usually from the ground, and low attacks are usually crouching attacks that look like they are aiming for your legs or ankles. To know for sure, you can check in training mode. High block defends against high and mid attacks, but loses to low attacks. The logic is that your legs are vulnerable while standing. Low block defends against low and mid attacks, but loses to high attacks. The logic is that you're not guarding above your head when crouching. Air block defends against all 3, high, mid, and low attacks, but you have to be in the air to do it. The logic is, I don't know, this is just video game logic. The general blocking strategy is to high block when your opponent is in the air and low block when they're on the ground. But a good blocker can be like a turtle, So they gave everyone a move that beats all forms of blocking called throw. Throw can be done in the air or on the ground, but you must be close to your opponent to do it. If not, you'll just grab nothing and look like a fool.
For something more.
But if both players do a throw command around the same time, it will cancel each other out in what's called throw escape, and no one gets hurt. And that's it. As promised, 3 minutes to show you what blocking is. Now, by itself, this might feel like an overcomplicated version of rock, paper, scissors, so we need to combine this with attacking and movement. When it comes to movement, it's not all that different from other games. Dashing is a burst of speed, jumping makes you go high and far, super jumping makes you go higher and further. What might feel weird at first is that jumping trajectories are fixed. Only super jumps let you drift in the air. Also, some privileged champions can dash in the air. The most important things to know for 2x KO is that there's a tiny window where you cannot block while dashing, there's a tiny window where you cannot block when starting a jump. People get hit here a lot when trying to jump away from an attack, so be careful. Lastly, jumping will dodge ground throws. Hit the fool on the way down. That's it for movement. Now for the fun part, attacking. In League of Legends or Valorant, you can move and attack even while getting hit. It's almost like they don't feel pain. But in 2x KO, getting hit clearly puts your champion in a lot of pain. Just look at the animation. During this pain animation, you cannot attack, cannot move, cannot tag, and cannot block until the animation finishes. You're momentarily stunned, which is why this state is called hit stun. If you get hit again while in hit stun, then it's called a combo, and this counter pops up counting how many hits there are in a row. The only way to break out of a combo is when your break meter is full and you spend it. It's kinda like a get out of jail free card, so use it wisely. Without it, you cannot control your champion until the combo finishes. It's like watching an unskippable cutscene of you getting beaten up. Because almost any hit can lead into a long and damaging combo, you really do not want to get hit. So why do people get hit in the first place? Often because they are doing an attack or special move, and you cannot block while doing those. But the only way to see what's really going on is to go frame by frame. Historically, fighting games were played at 60 frames per second, so one frame is measured as 1/60th of a second. Every attack animation has 3 parts that each last for a certain number of frames. The first part is just winding up for the attack, so it doesn't do any harm. The second part is where contact is made and damage done, and the third part is a follow-through animation which also does no damage. These are called startup, active, and recovery frames, and it kinda reflects how martial arts work in real life. Nobody can punch, kick, or slash without startup frames because that would be superhuman and look super weird. Because you cannot block during an attacking animation, the startup and recovery frames are great windows of opportunities to hit someone. But they are tiny windows, so timing is everything. A difference of a couple of frames can determine who gets to do their combo and who has to watch the unskippable cutscene. Here's why. If 2 Dariuses do the same attack at the exact same time, both will trade hits and both will be in hit stun, so no one gets comboed. But say Pink Darius presses the button 1 frame sooner. He then completely wins the exchange and puts Blue Darius in a devastating combo. If Pink Darius is 1 frame slower, then he completely loses the exchange. But here, it just seems like a game of reactions. So where's the strategy? The strategy is to press the attack button with the faster animation or less startup frames. If Pink Darius pressed the light attack button instead of heavy here, his active frame would come out 7 frames faster than Blue Darius. Even if Pink Darius pressed the button 1 frame later, or even up to 6 frames later, Pink would still completely win the exchange. So is the strategy just to use the fastest attack to increase the chance of winning these exchanges? In this case, sure, but while speed is important, it doesn't matter if the attack doesn't reach. If both Dariuses were a little further apart, and Pink Darius did his faster light attack, Blue Darius would win simply because the heavy attack has more reach, and it will hit pink Darius during his attack's recovery frames. The general rule of thumb is that faster attacks are shorter range, while slower attacks are longer range. The 3 normal attack buttons are light, medium, and heavy, but you can also kind of see them as fast, medium, slow, and short, medium, long. The general strategy is to use fast attacks when close and longer attacks when further away. But in the examples I gave, it assumes both players are ready to attack each other at the same time or close to the same time. In a real match with moving champions, you will be caught off guard at one point. You will know their attack is already coming, and any attack you do will lose out because it'll be too late or not enough reach. This is where you bust out the fastest move in the game: block. Even the fastest attacks have startup frames. Blocking has no startup frames because it is instantaneous. Block when you cannot escape and when you know your attack will likely lose to their attack. It's actually not that different from taking cover behind a wall when caught off guard in an FPS, but in fighting games, you can pull up that wall immediately. But while blocking is better than getting hit, you will now be stuck in a blocking state called block stun, where you cannot move, attack, or tag for a brief moment. Blocking a series of attacks will keep you in block stun, and in 2xKO, this will happen a lot. However, this is not an unskippable cutscene. You can still do like 4 things. Switch between high block and low block, push away your opponent with push assist, try to get away yourself with retreating guard, and if you have it, break. These defensive mechanics will save your life. But you will not be able to block everything, and you will eventually get hit and knocked down. In a knockdown state, you also cannot move, attack, or tag, and it starts from the hit or throw that knocked you down and ends when you get up again. But the knockdown states are more merciful because you are invincible for much of its duration, which is indicated by this white outline on your champion. But your opponent will not be merciful and will be ready to hit you as soon as you get up again. They can even time their attack so their active frames hit you the moment your attack starts, guaranteeing you will lose the exchange. Luckily, you can choose one of 3 locations to get up to be a harder target, and there is the get up attack option that has invincible startup frames, but be careful. It also has lots of recovery frames, leaving you vulnerable. One last note is that knockdown states can happen in the air too, also with multiple positioning options. So now I've described the 4 states you can be in that does not let you freely move or attack, basically the ones that make you stuck. You can only move or attack when not in any of these 4 states, and for reference, we'll call this the ready state. The reason why hold commands are so effective, like blocking, jumping, and get up options, is because you can hold during a stuck state so that the command will activate as soon as you get to ready state. No need to time it. The parry mechanic, on the other hand, is riskier because it must be timed perfectly, especially because it has lots of recovery frames. So how do you use all these concepts to win? The advantage in a fighting game comes from being in a ready state while your opponent is still in one of the 4 stuck states, even if it's just by 1 frame or 50 frames. If you want to be a scientist, you can see the exact amount of frame advantage or disadvantage in training mode, but tag games like 2xKO do not require knowing exact numbers in most cases. It's much better to know which situations overall put you in advantage or disadvantage. I'm going to give you some common examples so you can get some ideas on how to form your own strategies. At the beginning of the match, neither player has advantage or disadvantage, which is why the situation is called neutral. The goal is to put yourself at advantage to maximize your chance of landing a hit while not getting hit yourself. The strategies for neutral are endless, but I will start with the most basic one. Walk up to your opponent and hit them. If this sounds like a terrible idea, then congratulations, you are thinking strategically. Darius with his long reach will chop you long before you get to him. But if Echo jumps at him right before, Darius would whiff his attack and be stuck in an attack state where he cannot block. Echo, still in ready state, is free to strike. Hitting someone on their attack's recovery frames like this is called a punish, and a message will pop up. Let's rewind, but this time, Darius does a faster attack, allowing him to get to ready state before Echo reaches him. With both in ready state, there are many possibilities. 1. Echo attacks, Darius blocks. Blocked jumping attacks give the attacker serious frame advantage because the landing cuts off the attack animation and puts them in ready state immediately. Still stuck in block stun, Darius attacking here would be super risky. 2. Echo attacks, Darius does down heavy. The startup frames of down plus heavy are invincible to air attacks, so it is designed to be what's known as an anti-air. If in pulse mode, mash light to do a combo right after. 3. Darius does down heavy and echo blocks. Advantage can vary here depending on the timing. 4. Both block and have a stare down. This often ends with one throwing the other and putting them in a knockdown state. The forward throw in this game is special because the downed player cannot choose where to get up like in normal knockdown situations. This is called a hard knockdown, and every champion's throw should give plenty of frame advantage to attack before their opponent can. With the target locked down, the attacker can plan it so the opponent won't know what attack will happen upon getting up, or even bait them. Another situation where an attacker can get serious advantage is with lingering projectiles or bombs. This is because by the time the defender gets in block or hit stun, the attacker is already in a ready state able to move around. Echo players love playing keep away while throwing time winders and dashing in when one makes contact. And Jinx players can even combo hit stun from projectiles from full screen. But the ultimate advantage comes from a tag assist because your point character can be in ready state the entire time. It has the out-of-body benefits of projectiles, but you can call a tag assist while moving and attacking, so they can protect you both on defense and offense, and it will let you extend combos. In the earlier example, if Echo jumped at Darius with a tag assist, it would beat his down plus heavy, and you can combo off the hit stun. Yes, it's that good, but be careful. Tag assists can get hit, so you risk getting both your champions killed at the same time. Sometimes it's just better to block. This is a lot to absorb, but at least now you know how these games work. If you're ready to break in and give the game a go, here are some good final things to know. Use a controller you are so comfortable with that you can access the button you want immediately. This matters because in fighting games, timing is everything. Almost any controller can be good, and the best players do not all use any one type. Just avoid analog sticks for your directionals if you can avoid it. Timing takes time. Ask any musician. In fighting games, you are also timing things under pressure. You will mess up your inputs and die for it, but so will your opponent. Over time, this will happen less and you will get better. Take advantage of Pulse, the game's auto-combo system. When starting out, finding ways to land the hit that leads to a combo matters more than optimizing combo damage. When you feel ready, you can practice manual combos. These are super satisfying to land in a match. If you don't want to learn 2 champions now, use the Juggernaut or Sidekick fuse. These are very viable and let you main just one buffed champion. Duo mode lets you play co-op with a friend, which is fun and eases the pressure. Best of all, winning feels twice as good while losing feels half as bad. Lastly, don't try to parry everything. That's it. This was Gerald from PlayscopeGaming. Thanks for watching.